Oh, got upshift quite early. Oh, it's really easy to go through that corner in this car, yeah. It's really...
At Honda, we've chased down a lot of dreams, each one leading to the next, all the way to our latest. Introducing the all-new, all-electric Honda Prologue.
What's up, guys? I'm Chris Doughty, aka Doubtinator, and welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to go through the fastest settings in Gran Turismo 7. Whether you're doing license tests, single player races, or online sport mode, these settings will help you be faster. Let's get straight into this one. The settings menu we're looking for is buried in the pre-driving menu. Just before you're about to hit the track, that's where you'll find it. So you can get to it from various places. I'm going to choose to go through World Circuit, and the easiest place to go and test out these settings. Just hit time trial, choose your favorite track, and go to time trial. Once the pre-driving menu has loaded, choose the settings button here, and you've got a full range of options. Here you will find a lot of options. In this video, we're going to discuss assist settings and controller settings. Make sure you're subscribed for future videos where we'll discuss everything in more detail. So assist settings. First option we've got is manual or automatic gearbox. Pretty self-explanatory. Manual gearbox has the potential to be the fastest, but if you're new to Gran Turismo series, don't be afraid to use automatic while you get to know the ropes. Next is the presets. That's just a predetermined selection based on beginner, intermediate or expert. We don't need to worry about this because we're setting every option individually. Traction control is the next option on the list, and this is the global default setting. We'll cover this in a lot more detail later in the video. Now we get to ABS settings, and similarly to GT Sport, I went and tested all of these. I tried running a bunch of laps with ABS turned off, trying to brake as efficiently as possible, but it's very, very difficult. almost impossible to not lock a tyre, and definitely impossible to be as fast as using ABS on default. Between weak and default, I didn't notice a great deal of difference, but my 100% recommendation is to use ABS on default. Auto drive allows automatic braking and automatic steering if you require it. Certainly isn't the fastest way to drive, and I'd highly recommend leaving this off. These next options are quite interesting and probably very useful for learning a new track. One thing to note, cone markers aren't available at all, completely missing from GT7. I use them a lot in GT Sports. This is a huge blow to me. RIP cone markers, you will be missed. Other options, you've got the braking zone and also the braking indicator. I'm going to show you some gameplay footage in a moment where all of these are turned on and you get to see how they can help you to learn tracks. As you can see, all the track assists are on. You've got the driving line, the braking area. The rev counter also flashes red when you need to be on the brakes. The yellow markers there, they're basically the clipping points, good to get your turn-in points, apex points and exit points. And it's interesting to note that the braking zones are dynamic. So if you approach a corner with less speed, the braking zone will be shorter than if you're approaching with much higher speed. I'm not quite sure how accurate they are, but they certainly give you a good indication. Certainly great to learn a brand new track for the first time, but most of the time playing this game I'll turn all of these assists off. Interesting, this one, reset car after leaving the track. In GT Sport this was a setting that was per race or per lobby. It's interesting they put it as a per player choice. I'm not sure how this would translate into sport mode, but this could be useful in your single player campaign. If you happen to make a mistake, it'll get you back on the track faster. Active stability management. This is another interesting one because in GT Sport this was always disabled for sport mode. I checked in GT7 Daily Race A this week and this option was allowed. Going forward I won't be using this option, but if you are having trouble controlling the car, this may help, but I wouldn't rely on it. Turn it off as soon as you can. Counter steer assistance is the next option. And again, like the previous one, this is enabled for sport mode, certainly for race A. Whether that will change in the future, who knows. But I tested driving with this on strong and I could barely notice any difference. I could still spin out. I would highly recommend it leaving this turned off. Now let's revisit the traction control settings. I did some testing on this in GT7 and the results were quite surprising. I did the control corner at Tsukuba, the final corner, turning in and then just getting on the gas and just letting the car do what it wanted to naturally do. And in GT7 it naturally wants to spin out with traction control on 0. Switching to 1, we're going to repeat the exact same process, and quite surprising to me, the car just sticks, really sticks very well. So just having traction control on 1 is a huge help. The way GT7 is, the cars are much more dynamic, they're much more on the edge to control. Now, unlike GT Sport, I think we're going to see traction control being used a lot more on the higher power cars. Don't be afraid to use traction control. And in my testing, I even went much further. I ran a few laps with traction control on 5, and it's way less prohibitive than it was in GT Sport. So traction control has had a huge upgrade for GT7, and it's quite a viable solution to getting a reasonable lap time. I think the very fastest lap time will be achieved with traction control on 0. However, you may get yourself a whole load of consistency using a higher, or at least traction control 1.
I know exactly where the fuck I went to. What I thought about cybersecurity was like a little nerd. I don't know if I can say that.
KC7 is a realistic cybersecurity game that gives anyone an opportunity to do cyber defense.
I was born in Benin, in West Africa, and I moved to the United States when I was 8 years old, but I always had a love for exploring new things. Cybersecurity is a field that is not very diverse, especially in threat intelligence, where we are. I've gone to many a conference where I would literally be the only black person. And the same thing with representation of women. And so I think as an industry, we're trying to figure out how to better get people involved and engaged and included within our industry.
I grew up in a small town in Kentucky, and there really weren't opportunities for people to enter into this field. That's definitely not unique to my community. There are a lot of places throughout the country, throughout the world, where access and information about cybersecurity just really isn't available.
What KC7 allows you to do is look at fictitious data, and by looking at that data, you can actually build the skills and become a really good cybersecurity analyst.
How do I cast a wide net? How do I make sure students from all backgrounds, locations, age groups, how can they relate to it?
If you want to teach cybersecurity, I think it is almost a requirement that you have to make it fun. So that's a big part of the journey for us, to figure out how to make that more relatable so that more people will want to play it.
Gamifying anything in general makes it easier to learn. If you're having fun learning, you're gonna want to learn more.
Having the game aspects of it.
Andrew knows that it wasn't stolen because it fucking has his information on a phone device plugged in multiple times. Like
tools that I needed to use in my future. Like there's stuff that I learned from that program that I can use now.
If I didn't get that exposure from KC7, I probably would have done.
How many phone devices I had, like the S, the 7, and the 11, since I had their contact names under 3 times. So it has their contact names under 3 times on 3 different phones. It'll say their names 3 different kinds because I had a phone 3 different times. I had 3 different phones that had the thing on there, and I know that shit isn't from somebody else when it says Ortega. And fucking David's fucking creepy as fuck and ain't gonna be his esports playing house when he's not the participant in the fucking photo. He's not the person fucking demonstrating this. He's not me. The guy's more overweight, don't know the differences, and the guy is fucking Lucifer itself, able to fucking laugh hysterically real bad and talk shit about all these neighbors that fucking pass away or something bad happens to any of these people. This guy just laughs hysterically and takes him to court and does creepy shit. Nobody's gonna get anything. He can't get anything from an account that doesn't belong to him. Half the fucking aides will jail up David, then they fucking didn't like it, but they fucking said the trannies run rapid. The trannies run rapid at 4 in the morning via a tranny factory of gay trans. The gay trannies have more rights than the people that fucking dropped the bomb in Hiroshima, the island, or wherever.
Settings menu from the pause menu.
I'm not stupid if I have proof is demonstrated. This shit clear as day. It says Ortega. I don't fork and play with somebody until they fucking get snapped. I'm fork and tell you a bunch of creepy shit.
While you're driving, but in this case we're going to go for controller settings, and specifically this time controller sensitivity. Right now I'm using the controller. I've got the sensitivity set to -2, the lowest setting, and it just feels a
I instantly upgraded to a level 5 for having this brand new to a level 14 carrying the information on there. Having more missions than that.